Coming up on Look Today, will World War II veterans from the battleship USS Saratoga tour the site of the Battle of Saratoga? I've got details. Plus, a march for racial equality and justice will take place this Sunday in Glens Falls. More on that coming up. And we've got continuing coverage of the Saratoga City Charter Review process. I've got those details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone and happy Friday. I'm Jay Hood Jackson. This is Look Today. Well, on tonight's program, I sit down with Dr. Tarina Parker. Now, she's executive principal of BOCES, and we're joined by Nancy DeStefano. She's director of instructional programs, also for BOCES, and they're here to discuss the exceptional learning program and an open house that's happening tomorrow. I also sit down with Jeff Altamari and Gordon Boyd. Now, they're members of the City Charter Review Commission in Saratoga, and they're here to discuss the fiscal report. This is part 2 of my interview with them. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, a march for racial justice is planned to take place this Sunday, Crandall Park in Glens Falls. Now, the march will demonstrate unity within the community and the issues of racial injustice and how it affects everyone. Well, we spoke to Catherine Schmel. She's the organizer of the march.
Starts at 2 p.m. It's happening right here at Crandall Park, and we're going to march around the block. So we're going to go from Glen Street to Horicon to Kensington, Jerome to Fire Road. So we're crossing no streets whatsoever, and we're going to come back here to Crandall Park.
Oh, great idea. All right, in other news, we've got continuing coverage, Saratoga Springs City Charter Review process. Now, as you know, the 15-member commission drafted a recommendation to change the current form of government to a city manager form. Now, some have criticized this proposed change, stating that the current system is not broken. Well, we spoke to Mayor Joanne Yepsen. She's a current mayor of Saratoga about her thoughts on this.
The city government needs to catch up with the rest of the city so that we can be a progressive city that operates in modern times with a larger city council that better represents the city of Saratoga Springs, which is on the cutting edge of so many great things. And that won't change. That's not being dictated by this. This is just city government rules. Wow.
Okay, switching from news to weather. Guess what? Fall weather is back. It's bringing cooler days and colder nights. Well, let's see how the weekend is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser with your first look weather update. Right now, we currently have multiple front boundaries. We'll start this one along the Texas-Mexican border over the Gulf of Mexico into portions of Florida. That's going to stall out, keeping the potential tropical trouble at least away from the central part of the United States. You have this cold front boundary making its way through portions of the Mid-South into the Northeast, and that low pressure system over the capital district of New York could bring a few showers of the overnight, generally 40s across the region and mid to upper 40s towards the capital district. 45 in Fort Edward and Wright Hall. We'll see 45 in Glens Falls with a few increasing clouds. Showers will be likely later in the forecast. Few morning showers, mostly cloudy, 58 with that northeast breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Out the door, we could be in for a cool and raw day with a few isolated showers, temps in the mid to upper 40s through the 8 a.m. hour. Look at the extended forecast. At least the sun will be out, especially in the second half of the weekend. After a 30% chance of showers on Saturday and a high of 58 degrees, we'll cool down to 36. So areas of frost could be possible in the capital district, and we could see highs back up quickly into the mid to upper 60s. With more sunshine, we'll see highs once again above average as we head into early next week. Mid to upper 70s are likely after morning lows in the mid to upper 40s. Winds generally out of the east and maybe slightly on the northeast side. Still plenty of sunshine, so get outside and enjoy this beautiful weather as we head to early next week. That is the look at the first look weather forecast. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser. Now I send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks very much, Clarence. I think raw was the operative word in that forecast for tomorrow night. All right, back to the news. Well, the annual Veterans Reunion was held at Saratoga National Historic Park this week, and veterans from the USS Saratoga were there. Now, the World War II veterans had a guided tour of the Revolutionary War site of the Battle of Saratoga, which, by the way, took place 240 years ago this fall. Well, 6 Navy ships, by the way, have been named Saratoga, including an aircraft carrier that saw service throughout World War II. Well, we spoke to Park Ranger Bill Velosin about the importance of honoring our veterans.
These people, whether they were shuffling papers or folding sheets or scrubbing toilets or on the front lines, they were serving our country. They gave up a part of their lives to serve our country. And what a wonderful opportunity to give back to them a little bit.
How cool is that? Can you imagine World War II veterans from a ship called the Saratoga actually visiting the Saratoga Historical National Park? That's really something. Up next, I sit down with Dr. Tarina Parker. She's executive principal of BOCES, and we're joined by Nancy DiStefano. She's director of instructional programs for BOCES, and they're here to discuss the exceptional learning program at BOCES. And an opening house is happening this weekend. Plus, I also sit down with Jeff Altamari and Gordon Boyd. Now, they're members of the Saratoga City Charter Review Commission, and they're here to discuss the fiscal report. This is part 2 of my interview with them. But first, if you've seen what's happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Friday, so I want to thank the crew. That would be ladies first, Antoinette and Dana. But of course, we have Andrew and Drew. We got Jack and Joel. We've got Norm, and we have the Bat. These are the people that make all these programs possible each and every week. A reminder that this weekend in downtown Glens Falls at the Q, the Queensbury Hotel, it's the Summit. That's a rock festival. I think it's about 13 bands between tonight and Sunday, including 2 of the best bands in the area, the Paradox Saints and headlining Wild Adriatic. You don't get to see them that often, so you want to try to catch that. You can get a weekend pass, you can go in and out, and it's all centering around the Q, the Queensbury Hotel, downtown Glens Falls. And one last thing, I want to give a look out to somebody that I talked to this morning. His name is Paul Spinelli. Now, Paul owns a company called Windows, Doors, etc., right off exit 18 in Glens Falls. And I went in to ask him a question about changing some windows on our home. I walk in, he goes, I know you. You're Jay Hood. You're Look TV. And I looked around, and, you know, Paul really typifies what entrepreneurs do best, which is just take so much pride in their own businesses. Paul's shirt was just right. He had the logo on the chest, and just the place was spotless, and you can tell that he's involved in the community, from Catholic Charities, and a particular fan of Muhammad Ali, I noticed, too. All right, so Paul, you get the lookout. Tonight on Look TV, it's Beyond the Headlines and Tracks, our music program. And don't forget, tune in to Monday night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.